Hello everybody, my name is Michal and I arrived from Sedona a few days back and I am now receiving a very strong guidance that I should connect with all of you and offer you my perspective of what actually happened there. So I was there for a Bashar's transmission. If you don't know who Bashar is, he claims to be a first contact specialist from the benevolent ET race called Sasani. And there was a big group, like it was a 2-day event, and I was sitting right there in the front seat, right in front of Daryl Anka, who is the official channel for Bashar. And the people who were asking the questions were right next to me. So I had the benefit of feeling very strongly the energies, the interactions that were going on between the person who was asking and Bashar. And in these transmissions, Bashar did something that is not that usual for him because he made predictions. And especially one of them is basically controversial and very sensitive, and it is on the topic of US elections, and it basically freaked out quite a lot of people and it kind of divided the Bashar's community to two different groups, one that feels very excited and one that obviously isn't. So today I will just try to dive deeper into what, in my opinion, based on my direct experience and energy readings and insights from my higher self, happened there. So I hopefully help to shed some light into it and hopefully to help avoid some of the fear that it generated as well. So without further ado, let me say what these two predictions were. The prediction number one was that the public open ET contact is imminent. That it will happen within 5 years from now. Within 5 years. So it could happen sooner as well. And he also shared with us some visuals, like how exactly it could look like. I will not dive into that part here. If you are interested, I think that you can just buy the Bashar's transmission directly and hear it for yourself. But that was the prediction number one. The second prediction was about the US elections. There was a person asking if Bashar could give us some idea what we can expect after the US election that is coming up. And initially he actually didn't want to respond to that, but the person sort of insisted. So there was kind of a communication telepathically between Bashar and a lot of other beings, and they were trying to estimate what they can tell us without influencing our judgment too much. Because if you follow Bashar long enough, you know that this has always been their approach, that this is our planet and we are responsible for driving where we want to lead the planet. And it is one of the reasons why they still haven't landed and they didn't take over. They are waiting for us to make the choices and be responsible for what we want to choose, what we want to create. So there was this communication, and in the end of it, he actually consented to share a little bit more with us. And he emphasized that it is only because how close to the open contact we are that he can actually share these things with us. So remember, because this will be very important, the public open contact is imminent. One piece of information and then the second. And he said, there are certain things we can say, but if we say them, because it is your world, are you willing to take responsibility for the responses of your population to what we are about to say? And before you answer, think carefully about what that means. Are you willing to take responsibility for what we are about to say? Be sure the answer is yes. Let me pause here. When he asked this, my gut feeling was no. And for a very particular reason. Number one, I have my fair share of experience with peeking into the future and then learning certain things, and it is very often painful in a way, because you can see the potentials, and whether it is something negative and then you need to deal with the fear that it creates, or if it is something positive and then you need to deal with the expectations that create insistence and that can actually create resistance as well. And in some cases there is also free will, not some cases, all the cases, there is also free will of not only yourself but also other individuals involved that can change everything. And if that happens, then the entire foresight is gone, right? And we also need to be aware of the idea of what the prediction is from, let's say, the Sasani's perspective. It is just like a reading of the current situation, where you are going, in what speed, and how likely you can turn it around or not, you know? If you are driving a car which is going like 100 miles per hour towards a cliff, and you are just 50 feet away from it, it is highly unlikely that you will be able to turn it around. But because of the momentum, you can say that, hey, with most probability, you will just basically fall off that cliff. And any other insights, but it is an information. Think about, let's say, Titanic, right? If they were given information, hey, you are heading against an iceberg, it is not set in stone that you will end up in that iceberg. The fact that you know that information alone is enough for you to change the direction, assuming that you have enough time for that, right? That you have enough capacity to change the direction. And that capacity to change the direction is very important as well, because it doesn't have to always take long once you connect to your multidimensional powers. And once you realize that you are creating the physical reality, teleporting from one to another, and so on. There is a completely different discussion and education that you can explore. I have some videos on the parallel realities, timelines, space-time in my channel as well. Feel free to check it out if you would like to understand how exactly you are creating the physical reality and the illusion of time and space. So in this case, one of the other reasons why I wanted to say no, that I'm not willing to take the responsibility, is because I know what I can control and I know what I, in a way, can't control, if that makes sense. And most of the things that I can't control is falling into the category, what will other people choose to do? So I can choose what I do, how I respond to what other people choose to do, but I can't control what other people choose. So for me, feeling the responsibility for their choices is something that I would not want to do, right? Yet, synchronistically, and there are no accidents, the energy in the room was, yes, we are willing to take the responsibility. And in a way, this video is my way of taking that responsibility, accepting this role, to help other people take their power back and make more empowered choices in their life, so they don't end up in the end of the cliff. Then he continued, all right, this is what we are allowed to say. The female will lead to open contact. Do I need to say more? And we were good. Even the person who was asking the question said no. But it wasn't enough for some people, and more people from the back said yes, that they still want to know more. Okay, now I became even more uncomfortable because I started sensing where this is going. And Bashar confirmed again, are you willing to take responsibility for the information? Then people said yes. Alright. So he responded further. The male will lead to the termination of the United States and World War III. End of comment. We should have left it at the first part, right? because that was exciting, that was fun, that was a hope. Now the other part of this information just freaked out people, and I understand why. I could feel the heaviness of the energy in the room, and I could understand why Bashar asked us for the responsibility, right? Because if you don't know how to navigate the timelines, if you are identified with the victim mode, of you being victim, or that somebody has power over you, and in this case this was a presidential election, and many people believe that the president has the power to lead the nation towards certain future. But in reality, my experience is that no, the president is more like a reflection of the collective consciousness, but you are creating your future through your choices. The president can be, let's say, pointing towards a certain direction. The government can maybe suggesting things, but in the end, your choices will determine your vibration, your frequency, and therefore which TV channel you are going to align with. And by TV channel, I mean parallel reality, timeline. I have another video on that. And I could see that it will scare a lot of people. It is common, fairly common in our mainstream, that people like to focus on the worst case scenario and then basically just paralyze themselves. If you take this fear-oriented approach to the extreme, you could never get out of the house, because if you get across the street, you can get run over by a car, right? And there is quite high chance of that. But if you trust your ability to navigate, to handle the situation, and even if a car is approaching, you can stop, you can avoid it, you can wait for a moment, you can go across a bridge, choose a different path. There is so many different ways how you can approach the situation. So even though the danger is there, it is just one of the many options, and you create for yourself much higher probability that nothing bad will happen. So this entire quote, if you put it out of the context, can seem very scary. But now if I circle back to the beginning, he said the public open contact is imminent within 5 years, which means that we are on that path, we are on that trajectory, and this is our most likely future. And this is not coming just from Bashar, this is coming from many spiritual beings. If you want to say Cryon, if you want to say Abraham Hicks, the Arcturians, Sasani, the Ascended Masters, all of them at this moment are saying about the same thing. The consciousness on our planet is going to dramatically evolve, quantum leap. And there was this potential of a world war that we avoided already. But there is still also an option, because this is a free will universe, to choose that path. And if you really insist that you really want to fight, you can. Nothing is stopping you. You can take a gun and go shoot people. But at the same time, you have a choice that you don't have to do that. You don't have to fight. So where was I going with this? You need to put it back into the context. Public open contact is imminent, and the election part is then just additional information that right now the most likely scenario is that the female will actually win it. Whether that is true or not, that I don't know. And to be honest, I don't care, because I'm not even a US citizen. I live in Canada. So I'm just observing this. However, for myself personally, just because I already learned how to navigate these timelines, it wouldn't matter, because in the end, it is not the president who decides my future, it is me. And even if the male won, and that's basically where the reading was, like, hey, the man kind of leads towards annihilation of the United States and so on, I still wouldn't identify with that. Just like when you know that, hey, the Titanic is heading against an iceberg, you can still change the direction. and I would do exactly that. So for me, it doesn't matter who wins. I would still vote whoever you want to vote and who makes the most sense, but then make sure that you take the responsibility for the creation of your own reality, of your own experience, of your own timeline, and steer it that way. Don't give your power away to anybody. Now, to put even more context back into the place, because people were suggesting ideas like, oh, Bashar is spreading fear, and he's playing for, I don't know, CIA, FBI, or that the ETs want to conquer us, and all those kinds of weird fears. I mean, they are justified if you don't know anything about them, right? But the more you know them, the less sense it makes, actually. Because what the Sasani are teaching are exactly that, like the prediction is just the reading of the current situation, and it actually gives you the power to render the entire prediction obsolete. Then they are teaching us the formula, right? Which is supposedly the only thing that you need to create a fulfilling life, right? The formula is follow your highest joy and passion to the best ability you can, till you can take it no further, with zero assumption or insistence on what exactly needs to happen, which by definition renders the predictions obsolete. And no matter what manifests, interpret things in a positive way, and be willing to explore all the beliefs that are out of alignment with who you truly are. Anything that brings you fear, judgment, all those things are messengers that can help you to identify the root core belief that is self-sabotaging. It doesn't say anything about presidents. It doesn't say anything about governments. It is completely giving the power to you. Then they are emphasizing that you are the only creator of your experience in this physical reality, and that the physical reality is a dream of your own soul. So why would you create something that you don't prefer? They are asking us to use our emotions and the entirety of our being as a guiding mechanism. Most of the time, positive emotions means, yes, this is in alignment with who you are. Negative emotions like fear and so on is a messenger. Hey, this is not who you are. This doesn't feel good. There are better options. And now I'm speaking about the rationalized fear, not the imminent fear when a tiger is chasing you. Survival fear, different thing. Then they have introduced to us the social experiments, right? The first one was stay away from conspiracy theories and any situations which are trying to put you into the victim mode. And another one was develop your own relationship with your higher self and with the spirit, so you can discern by yourself what is true for you. So you don't need to rely on the other external sources for information. So they are really guiding us, kind of, please mature, take ownership of your life, take the responsibility of your life. And I think that's beautiful, that's empowering, that's peaceful. So, in my understanding, I just wanted to show you a picture, what this entire prediction meant, right? This is the picture. So you can see it. Nothing more, nothing less. Here is the strong momentum of the path we are on, that we are going towards this, what I call multicultural festival / the public open ET contact, which will lead to exposure to other cultures like the extraterrestrials, where we are gonna share the information, wisdom, what we've learned. We can learn from each other and we can expand exponentially as a humanity, as an intergalactic species. And one of the candidates is pointing sort of that way. And then there is other option as well, which is sort of completely on a side track. We are not going to that direction. It has very low momentum at this moment, and we would kind of have to turn back to do that, but you can still choose that. And one of the candidates is choosing that direction. And when I was actually in the United States and I was driving along the highway, I could not miss that there was this one specific candidate who had a motto or like a slogan on his campaign, fight, fight, fight. How synchronistic that the energy of fight and fighting is aligned with what Bashar was saying about where this path goes. Alright, so this is where we kind of need to use our own guidance, our own gut feelings, our own wisdom to discern which way we want to follow. If I want peace, do I want to support a candidate that is dedicated to fighting? Or do I want to explore any other options? I, for example, like to talk to people, to communicate, to solve problems at the round table as a partner to partner, no power over, no power under. So that's all. And even if I explore the words carefully, the female will lead to the open contact, the male will lead to the annihilation of the United States. The word leading can be interpreted again in multiple ways, like that this is the natural consequence of that, but I personally don't like to give my power away that easily. Or it can also mean, hey, this is where the person would guide you towards, but you don't have to follow it, right? If I tell you, hey, follow me, I want to have some good fight, you can say no thanks, and that's it. Matter closed. So think about it that way. And even if the male wins, it is not the only path, right? Because you still have the power to change your vibration, align with a different reality where this is not true anymore. Change the history, change the past. You can do that. There is again another video that I have on that. And you can still go like this. It could take longer. It could take more effort because now you are not going with the mainstream anymore. But it is still possible, and I've done that in the past. So, I hope that this helps to illuminate certain things, that you can see where the responsibility comes in, and that you will choose the right things that are working for you, as I say, for the highest good of all. You've got it, and I am very grateful for everybody who is already on the path of love and compassion and peace. And for anybody who prefers to focus on the fear, please bear the consequences. Be responsible for what you are creating. Where your mind goes, energy flows, and the momentum grows. And those things that have enough momentum will manifest for you, but it will always be your creation. So be responsible for your own choices. Don't give up your power to presidents or any government or anybody, and live life the way you want. Or more, I should say, the way you need. Take care. My unconditional love to you. Bye.